The price of a home is $160,000. The bank requires a 15% down payment. The buyer is offered two mortgage options, 15-year fixed at 8% or 30-year fixed at 8%. Calculate the amount of interest paid for each option. How much does the buyer save in interest with the 15-year option? The first step is to compute for the mortgage amount. Since the bank is requiring 15% down payment, the mortgage amount is computed as $160,000 minus 15% of $160,000. 15% in decimal is equivalent to 0.15. You can use a calculator to compute it. This will yield to $136,000. The next step is to compute for the monthly payment of the 15-year mortgage. So to compute that, we will use the formula PMT is equal to P times R over N divided by 1 minus open parenthesis 1 plus R over N close parenthesis, raise this to N times T, where P here is the principal amount borrowed. This is the mortgage amount. R is the rate. N is the number of paying period in a year. So in this case, if it's monthly payment, this N is equal to 12. And T is the duration of the loan. So for the 15-year term, T is equal to 15. Let's compute for the monthly payment by plugging in the information that we have. P is the mortgage amount, that's $136,000. And the rate for the 15-year fixed term is 8%. 8% in decimal is equivalent to 0.08 divided by 12. N is equal to 12. All over 1 minus 1 plus 0.08 divided by 12. Close parenthesis, raised to 12 times T in this case is equal to 15. So times 15. Then let's go ahead and input the information to this calculator. Principal amount is $136,000 times R over N. The rate is 0.08 divided by 12. All over 1 minus open parenthesis 1 plus R over N, that is 0.08 divided by 12. Raise, enclose it in a parenthesis and raise it to negative, and enclose it in a parenthesis 12 times the number of years, which is 15. And we get approximately equal to 1,300. From our computation, the monthly payment is approximately equal to $1,300. Next is to compute for the interest for the 15-year loan. To get the total interest paid, get this monthly payment and multiply this by 12. So it's 1,300 times 12 months in a year, and times 15 because you're paying for 15 years. Subtract the mortgage amount, which is $136,000. You will get $98,000. This is a total interest paid for the 15-year. Next is we will compute for the monthly payment for the 30-year fixed loan at 8% and then compute also for the total interest paid. We will use the same formula here to compute for the monthly payment for the 30-year loan. We have the same mortgage amount, which is $136,000, the same rate of interest, which is 8%, and the number of years is 30. So the monthly payment is equal to $136,000 times 0.08 over 12 divided by 1 minus 1 plus 0.08 over 12, close parenthesis, raise this to negative 12, and now the t is equal to 30. Now if you plug in the information that we have to the scientific calculator here, we will get approximately equal to $998 as our monthly payment for the 30-year loan. This is approximately equal to $998. Next is to compute for the interest paid for the 30-year loan. To do this, we will just get the monthly payment, 998, multiply that by 12, times the number of years, which is 30, and subtract the mortgage amount, which is $136,000. Plugging this into our calculator, the computation will give us $223,280. Comparing the interest paid for the 30-year loan and that of the 15-year loan, the difference between the two is the amount the buyer saves for getting the 15-year option. $223,280 minus $98,000 will give us $125,280. This is the amount the buyer saves for opting the 15-year option. We want to compare the two mortgages here and find out which mortgage loan has greater total cost. When you say total cost, this is computed as the closing cost, the amount paid for points, and the total cost of interest. So to do this, we will first have to compute for the monthly payment for each mortgage, and then get the total amount of interest for the mortgage, and then the points for the mortgage, and then the cost for the mortgage, and then subtract, and then find the difference. So let's begin by computing for the payment for mortgage A. To compute for the payment for mortgage A, we will use the following formula. Now, P here is the principal amount borrowed, and R is the rate of interest. So for mortgage A, R is equal to 7%, and then convert it to decimal. That is 0.07. And then N is equal to 12 because we're looking for the monthly payment. And T here is the number of years. So that's the term. Now we will input all the information that we have to the formula. P is equal to the mortgage, so 120,000 times R, it's 7% in decimal, that's 0.07, divided by 12, 1 minus 1 plus 0.07 divided by 12, raised to negative 12 times the number of years. So this is a 30-year fixed mortgage, so that is T is equal to 30. Now we input the information to the calculator. We have 120,000 times 0.07 divided by 12, all over 1 minus 1 plus 0.07 divided by 12, raised to negative 12, enclose it in a parenthesis, 12 times 30. Rounding this off to the nearest dollar, it's $798. So from our computation, this is approximately equal to $798. Now the next step is to compute for the total interest for mortgage A. To compute for the interest for mortgage A, multiply the monthly payment by 12, 798 by 12. So you get the amount paid for the year, and then multiply it to the number of years. So multiply it to 30. And then subtract the amount of amortization, which is 120,000. This would equal to 167,280. So the next step will then be to compute for the points for mortgage A. So for mortgage A, you just need 1 point. 1 point means 1%. So this is just equal to 120,000 times 0.01. 1% is just 0.01 in decimal. So 120,000 times 0.01 is equal to 1,200. Next is compute for the cost of mortgage A. The total cost for mortgage A will be computed as follows. So you have to add the closing cost, the amount paid for points, and the total cost of interest. Now, it's stated that the closing cost is 2,000. You have 2,000 plus the amount paid for points is 1,200, and then plus the interest for mortgage A. The total interest for mortgage A is 167,280. And then adding up everything, this would total to $170,480. The next step is to compute the same information for mortgage B. We will compute the monthly payment, then the total interest for mortgage B, the points, and then the cost for mortgage. So for the payment, we follow the same formula. So the principal is still 120,000. The rate is now 6.5%. So R will then be equal to 0.065. Just move this decimal point 2 places to the left. And then N will still be equal to 20. And then the time is still equal to 30. So PMT will be equal to 120,000 times 0.065 divided by 12 all over 1 minus 1 plus 0.065 divided by 12 raised to negative 12 times 30. And then plug this into your calculator. This is just approximately equal to $758. The next is to compute for the interest paid for mortgage B. To get the interest paid, you just take this monthly payment, $758, multiply that to 12 months in a year for 30 years, so times 30, and subtract the product by 120,000. This would total to 152,880. So this is the total amount of interest for mortgage B. Next is to compute for the points. The points for mortgage B is 4 points. 4 points means 4%. So this is just 4% of 120,000. 0.04 is the decimal equivalent of 4%. Now 120,000 times 0.04 is equal to 4,800. The cost of mortgage B is the sum of the closing cost, the amount paid for points, and the total cost of interest. For mortgage B, the closing cost is 1,500. So it is 1,500 plus the amount paid for points, which is 4,800, plus the total amount of interest paid, which is 152,880. and this is equal to 159,180. Finally, we will compare the two. For mortgage A, the total cost is 170,480. For mortgage B, the total cost is 159,180. This 170,480 minus 159,180. This is equal to 11,300. Mortgage A has greater cost of 11,300.